Coming up on show 412, Tesla finds reverse gear, Sono reveal their Sion, and Lamborghini use supercapacitors. All of those stories and much more coming up on today's podcast. Well, good morning, good afternoon and good evening. In fact, wherever you're listening around the world, welcome to EV News Daily. Start of the week, it's a Monday, 11th of March. It's Martyn Lee here, and I've been busy going through every EV story I can find today to pick out the best ones and save you time as well from going through all of the blogs. Someone who I know listens to the show and is now a very kind Patreon supporter. In fact, he's an executive producer. Thank you, Rob. Well, Rob Cooling signed up today to be number 199. Almost a big round number. Thank you, though, to our original supporters, myev.com. If you're in the USA, then check out their marketplace. All about buying and selling and learning about EVs. None of that fossil trash to wade through. Only EVs on that site. Okay, going to talk about Formula E. Oh, by the way, on location again today. So, in a hotel in London, and I'm working on a new project. And one of those things is going to be helping people podcast who aren't currently doing it. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to send them some gear. So I'm trying out a new microphone. This is not the one I usually have at home. But if this sounds okay, let me know your feedback. Then I might be buying a job lot of these and shipping them around the world to the various people who want to start podcasting, who I'm going to help this year. Well, let's carry on with the news of Formula E. And, okay, spoiler alert, we are going to talk about it. So just fast forward 60 seconds if you don't want to hear me talk about it. Okay, that's given them time to do that. Let's talk about Formula E from the weekend. The Hong Kong E-Prix. Sam Bird lost his Hong Kong E-Prix victory after getting a 5-second penalty for his clash with Andre Lotterer very late in the ABB FIA Formula E race on Sunday, says Alex Kalinauckas for motorsport.com. Edoardo Mortara has been promoted from second to first as a result of the penalty, and that means he takes his and Venturi's, the team, Venturi's first Formula E victory. Well, Sam Bird had spent the majority of the race behind Lotterer, and it looked like any minute that the Envision Racing driver could overtake. But on the penultimate lap, they got a little bit too close. The front of Bird's car made contact with Lotterer's right rear, caused a puncture, and Lotterer went to the very back. Sam Bird finished at the front, but even on the podium, he knew there was an investigation coming, and he was pretty subdued. Well, he falls out of the top three now, so he'll be giving that trophy back, and he'll be handing it over to Edoardo Mortara. So, this season of Formula E has just been action-packed. What I'd hate to see is for the rules and the regs to get like Formula 1, where they can't have a little bit of rough and tumble and have some fun out there. However, it's not, it's not meant to be a contact sport. So there's a fine line to draw, but hey, look, that's up to the stewards to sort out, and I'm just pleased that this season of Formula E is just so good. I'm loving these new cars. Next year we've got manufacturers coming in like Mercedes, fully fledged, not just with the HW18, Porsche coming in as well. Oh man, it's going to be so good. Formula E is really flying at the moment. Let's talk about Tesla then. Oh, they've been in the news over the last couple of hours. Tesla just announced a further, what they're calling, evaluation of their plan to close their retail stores, and they've now come to a new conclusion. They've said their plans to leave significantly more stores open than they'd announced, so they can continue to evaluate the situation. Says Stephen Loveday for InsideEVs.com. Well, Tesla points out that the stores it previously closed actually weren't very popular in the first place. They would have closed them anyway. It's going to review the other stores over many months now, rather than a knee-jerk reaction. In the meantime, in order to keep those stores open, they say they've got to raise prices. Now, the $35,000 Model 3 will be unaffected, but everything else will be going up by around 3%. I got a statement here from Tesla, and this is what they say. Potential customers will have a week to place their order for prices before they rise. Current prices are valid until March 18. There's going to be no price increase to the $35,000 Model 3. Price increases only apply to the more expensive variants of 3, S and X. To be clear, say Tesla, all sales worldwide will still be done online, in that potential Tesla owners coming into the stores will simply be shown how to order a Tesla on their phone in a few minutes, and the generous return policy of 1,000 miles or 7 days, whichever comes first, should alleviate the need for most test drives. However, cars will still be available for test drives at stores, and at the potential Tesla customers' request, stores will carry a small number of cars in inventory for customers who wish to drive away with a Tesla immediately. End statement. This was, funnily enough, our question of the week last week. How do you feel about buying online? And that certainly isn't changing. Tesla is saying that you will still buy the cars online. But as part of that question, we were talking about a closure of the retail stores. That's been reversed. And those stores now staying open, which I think is a good thing. I think, we're getting into this year and 2020, the year of mainstream adoption to EV. People like you and I leading the way, and you telling all your friends and colleagues and family members about it. They're going to want to experience EV. And one of the ways to do that is through dealerships, retail centres, experience centres. And I did fear that Tesla closing down their presence could perhaps hurt those people who, as much as they've probably got evangelists in their life saying, hey, you should buy one, they just want to go and maybe have the experience. So I'm relieved. I think I'm pleased. I'm not the one spending 3% more on a brand new car. And also, look, I'm no Tesla fanboy. I try and report the news, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I do wish that they wouldn't have reversed track after just a week. A few years ago they could have done this and gone below the radar, but now they're a major big car company, and I just wish that there was a little more fully baked, this idea, when it hit the public domain. But never mind. Right, let's talk about pollution. Cars should be banned from driving past schools, according to a leading UK government health chief, and congestion charge zoning should be considered in towns and cities to improve the air quality, says Hugo Griffiths for Auto Express. Well, previously suggested methods for tackling air pollution include taking away speed bumps, because we accelerate between them and then decelerate. Actually increases the pollution outside schools. It might reduce the speed, but it makes the air pretty stinky. Also, they say that there should be fines for those people who are idling their cars outside school. Councils as well should implement congestion charge zoning. Here's a stat which just blew my mind, and I'd read it before, but I'd kind of forgotten, so it's a good reminder. At least here in the UK, all I can talk about is what's on my doorstep. But here in the UK, 44 towns and cities in the country have previously been found in breach of the World Health Organization limits for PM 2.5 particles. Those are, by the way, the microscopic particles of soot. And they're generated by exhaust fumes, those stinky diesels. And some of them, the worst air quality can be around our schools, where young people's lungs are developing, and it just makes me so angry. And so this new health chief saying actually have congestion charging or just ban cars from going past school. I saw lots of comments today online from people saying, how do I get my kids to school? If you're in the place where you have to go onto a internet forum to say, if I can't drive my kids to within a metre of the school gates, then you've got more problems than I can certainly help with. But blimey, mate, I don't know, maybe they could walk for 30 seconds or something. It's just an idea, a crazy idea that I had off the top of my head. Right, let's move on to a car covered in solar panels, and it's really captured the imagination of many people around the world. Made by Sono Motors, it is the Sono Sion. They've unveiled the first images of their production design. The online release was today. The focus is placed on the full surface incorporation of solar modules into the bodywork. And when you see pictures of this, literally every bit of the surface is a solar panel. One of the vehicle's unique features that's influenced its design. Thanks to technology developed by Sono Motors, the solar cells meld seamlessly into the vehicle's surface, can generate up to 34 kilometres of range a day. If it's peak performance, maybe here in the UK it's always cloudy and rainy, so maybe you won't get peak performance. But if you're in sunny California or Australia or Nevada, maybe you would do. I mean, in Germany, the average commute is 17 kilometres. So, that solar little dribble of energy can make you travel for free. Matteo Baudry from Sono said this, and I quote, "After unveiling our prototype in summer 2017, we developed our solar integration technology, been working on since 2016. The production vehicle will feature full surface integrated solar cells embedded in hard-wearing resilient polymer." And so what they're saying here is that the solar cells are so embedded in the doors, the roof, the bonnet, the hood, as you would call it, maybe where you're listening around the world, that they're just part of the car. The fully charged video with Johnny Smith, I think, featured the pre-production or the prototype version, and the solar cells weren't quite as integrated. They looked a bit stuck on, but that's all been fixed. Hey, let's move on to very fast cars now. And the first one we'll talk about is Lamborghini, and the Lamborghini Aventador successor could be using supercapacitors. The Lamborghini CTO Maurizio Reggiani spoke to Road and Track to offer glimpses and set a few things straight, discussing the forthcoming supercar following up the Aventador. Reggiani said the use of supercapacitors in limited edition supercars will be a first jump into a robust hybrid application for the supercapacitors, and that Lamborghini will prove that in a super sports car it's possible to have the technology. That's according to Jonathan Ramsey, who's writing for Autoblog today. Based on Reggiani's comments, and likely the fact that Lamborghini uses a special supercar to hint at what's coming in technology and design, Road and Track take Reggiani's comments to mean that the Aventador successor will store its power for the batteries, not in batteries. It'll store them electrostatically rather than electrochemically, as you would do in a lithium-ion battery. And the final story today is talking Maserati. Many people love the Maserati brand, what it stands for, the history as well, and the Maserati Alfieri. Let's talk about this a bit more. Mentioned it once on the podcast, and we can now elaborate on some details. Set for a Geneva Motor Show reveal next year in 2020. It was introduced as a concept in 2014 and confirmed for production back in 2018. Due to be revealed in final form next year, then on sale the year after. That's the story of the Alfieri, according to Adrian Padno, writing for the brilliant InsideEVs.com. Well, Maserati fans have been waiting for parent company FCA, that is Fiat Chrysler, to rejuvenate the brand, famous Italian brand, for a long time, and it looks like it's finally happening. Company boss Harold Wester told Autocar during the Geneva Motor Show this week the Gran Turismo replacement will be revealed at next year's edition of the event. In Switzerland, customers will get to pick from 3 powertrains, one of them pure electric, the top of which will get triple motor. Wow, that is a triple motor Maserati, all-wheel drive, 800-volt battery. This is so cool. And the range topper is going to get active aero and torque vectoring. It's going to do 0 to 62, that's 0 to 100, in 2 seconds. It'll do 186 miles an hour, that's 300 kilometers per hour. That is a big spec, very, very nice EV. Got to wait a couple of years, but fingers crossed that comes. Well, let's get on to our question of the week. As always, set by myev.com. It's a bit of fun this week, and I love it. Here it is then. What slogan, motto, or catchphrase would you print on a T-shirt to say something about electric cars? What slogan, motto, or catchphrase would you put on a T-shirt to say something about EVs? Well, let me know. Email me. My address is hello@evnewsdaily.com. You can leave a comment on Facebook, YouTube, the blog, myev.com as well. All right. Let me thank all of my patrons of the podcast. Yes. Up to 199 patrons now. Thank you, Rob, for being a new executive producer. There are 411 previous shows online for free where you get your podcasts from, plus the blog. It's nothing much to look at, I'm afraid. It's all I can do. I'm self-taught WordPress. evnewsdaily.com. I know I could make it better, but it does the job. It gets the podcasts online, and if you want to subscribe to new ones, normally you'll be doing podcasting anyway on an app, on a platform. Maybe you use the YouTube audio, but if you hit subscribe, then you get it first and free and automatically. If you can leave a little review, it does wonders for the recommendations that this podcast gets, and it helps discovery, helps grow the podcast, and spread the word about EVs. In the meantime, come and say hi on the socials, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Just search EV News Daily. Do have a wonderful day. I'll catch you tomorrow, and from location, just reminding you, there's no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.